Well, leftist media are falling over themselves to try and paint Donald Trump's win in the New Hampshire primary as a loss. The ABC insists that he was angry during his New Hampshire run, saying the primary exposed some weakness in the former president. The Sydney Morning Herald criticised American voters for choosing Trump's chaos over rival Nikki Hayley's normality. And The Guardian slammed Trump's cruelty, calling him a schoolyard bully. The Guardian writes, like many bullies, Trump's ostentatious show of strength was motivated by inner weakness. Hayley did well enough among independents to raise red flags for Republicans in the general election. It's like no one in the progressive left learned their lesson from 2016. The more the media seems to attack Donald Trump, the more his popularity soars. Well, joining me now, Sky News contributor Kosha Garda and National Senator Matt Canavan. Welcome to you both. Matt, how did you interpret Trump's New Hampshire win, and do you think that it's only a matter of time before Nikki Hayley has to withdraw?
Look, I think it's pretty hard to see Donald Trump not being the nominee here. He has pretty much record-breaking leads in the polls among Republicans. I don't know. I just think it's almost all over now. Seemingly. I mean, in terms of what Nikki Hayley decides to do, who knows? I suppose there's perhaps other benefits in her staying in the race, but you really can't see anything but Donald Trump taking the nomination here for the Republican Party. And he's obviously tapping into a level of frustration that exists with institutions in America. I mean, it's pretty remarkable. Someone up for trial, someone that's been indicted on different issues is leading in the polls by this much. And I think hopefully it's a bit of a wake-up call to all the political class to start taking the issues that average people across the world are concerned about seriously. They want to protect borders. They want to make sure their own economies grow. They don't want to see their jobs move offshore to other countries that aren't complying with radical climate action. Just deal with the issues that people want, and then you'll get support among them. You don't need any tricks behind the scenes to do that.
Kosha, the pressure among some Republicans who support Trump, the pressure on Nikki Hayley to step down, to withdraw, seems to be heating up. She is under pressure. She seems to be resisting it at this point and standing firm. Do you think she presents a good alternative to Trump should a black swan event happen?
It's very hard to see how that would be the case. I mean, there are any number of reasons for why she's persisting. She is under a lot of pressure because the GOP has finite resources, money, et cetera, and the more this continues, it's sort of diverging or it's a diversion tactic away from the general, which everybody wants them to get on with. The reason I say it's unlikely is because her constituency, at best, really is independents. There was a lot of discussion that came about that, how in New Hampshire she had a good showing with independents. There's some question about how many of them are true independents versus Democrats in disguise, or even other people in disguise just register as independents. But be that as it may, in a primary she may do well with independents, but in a general there's no evidence that says those people will continue to go with her against the Democrat. And you cannot run as a Republican nominee without having the core Republican base on your side. So the independents are sort of like icing on the cake, but you have to have the cake of the Republicans. And the point is the Republican Party is being remade in the image of the populist movement, the MAGA movement. That is what is ascendant, as evidenced by Trump's performance in 16, 20, and right now. And she just doesn't have that constituency behind her. So it doesn't make sense really how she would be the natural heir apparent to Trump in the case of a black swan event.
I mean, she points out that she's come so far. Her polling originally was only 2%, and, now she's the last one standing. Matt, the Democrats also seem to want Trump to be the Republican nominee. The theory is, at least they say, that Biden can beat Trump. The polling doesn't show that, though. But how do you think Nikki Hayley would go against Joe Biden?
Look, it's a bit hard to say because I don't think Nikki Hayley has been subjected to the blowtorch of a national political campaign. So I think when you do sort of polling of a candidate like Nikki Hayley, who's probably not known that well to many Americans, the results you get are not going to be a true representation of what might happen after months of political combat. And no one really does political combat more confrontationally than in the United States. So, there'll probably be a lot more coming, I suppose, to Nikki if she stays in the race, and will that affect her polls? It's a bit hard to say if she go to general, but I agree there with Moksha that look, it's hard to see how Nikki Hayley captures the now populist nationalist part of the Republican Party. She's almost harkening back to the George W. Bush era, which seems like a long way back in the rearview mirror now. Donald Trump really is ascendant within the Republican Party and represents a very different type of conservatism: anti-war, anti-foreign entanglements, strong security of the borders, obviously an America First agenda. So, look, I don't see any other viable option for the Republican Party but to go with Trump, and it'll be a contestable, difficult election, but it's probably their best hope of a change of administration.